Good evening. The time is 7 o'clock, and we're ready to start the Raytown Board of Aldermen August 16th meeting, regular session number 9. Got the opening session now beginning, and we're going to ask for our good friend, Jay Grimwood, who is the executive pastor with Grace Way, to lead us in the invocation and pledge of allegiance.
Let's pray. Dear Lord, we come before you today thankful, Lord, that through a time of uncertainty with the world economics, uncertainty with stability and world governments, that we serve a God that's stable, that's unchanging, that's the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And we can come to you and we can find stability and a rock that we can stand upon. And Lord, we're thankful to be in a land that lifts up your name as the author and finisher of our faith, and the one that we can turn to for this kind of stability, this kind of comfort and guidance. I pray for each one of these men and women on the city council that you'd give them wisdom, discernment, understanding. And I pray for us as a people, as we go before them, that we would remember that it's a gift that we've been given to publicly speak, that we are blessed, Lord, to be in a place where there's so much freedom, there's so much prosperity. Even in this time of uncertainty, there's prosperity and hope and goodness. Lord, be with us now. Bless this community because you're a good God. In the Lord's name we pray all these things. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Jay. Ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Alderman Mock?
Here.
Alderman Lightfoot?
Here.
Alderman Ertz?
Here.
Alderman Van Buskirk?
Excused.
Alderman Nelson?
Here.
Alderman White?
Here.
Alderman Hamilton?
Here.
Alderman Azier?
Here.
Alderman Pardue?
Here.
Alderman Kramer?
Here. So we have a quorum. Next, I'm going to call upon those who wish to address the public, or excuse me, address the board from the public. I'd like to remind those that there are rules that that this governing body stands by as far as public comments go, and I'll ask certainly for those to continue to be adhered in this at this hour. So at this time, I'm going to call upon. Looks like Andy is our first signing up. Thanks, Andy. Always good to see you. It's always good to see you.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Board of Alder people. I would like to thank you for moving the important part of the agenda to 6 p.m. so that you can keep these items secret from the public. I would like to share the financial report that you and what you intend to do with the mill levy, and also what about the repeat of the piss poor job that was done street sealing last year. Hope you aren't going to create another safety hazard and fire issue. By the way, one of my neighbors recently died, and 1 year old, and she suffered from breathing difficulties. And I just wonder if any of that dust you guys put in the air last year could have facilitated her death. But that is why you keep the meeting secret. So earlier the people can't come. This appears to be a violation of the Open Meetings Act. If I were going to stay in this state of misery, I would file a complaint. But since I understand your need for secrecy, I will wait until Thursday to read it in the Raytown Report. By the way, the Raytown Report has reported that not all other older people attend. So I would like to see an attendance list of those elected and paid officials who do attend that early meeting. You sure have increased their readership. I know Mayor Bauer will state that it is on Channel 7, but that is not available to the public. I suggest that since you think Channel 7 serves as a legal notice, you should pay for every house and business in Raytown to have cable TV. At the last meeting, the Parks Director stated large amounts of money accumulated for special projects being held in the general fund but with really no knowledge of where these funds are kept, implying that they are in a checking account. I used to be secretary-treasurer of a fire district. We were on a cash basis like the Parks Department, but when we saved for a large ticket item, the funds were parked in CDs of various amounts in terms at the bank. Those CDs now have very low rate. I still keep my short-term funds such as house payments, interest-bearing savings and money market accounts. It is low interest but better than none. I suggest that our finance administrator, Jeremy Wilmuth, conduct a review of the Parks Department finances. Thanks.
Thanks, Andy. Next, we've got Evelyn Anderson. Good evening.
I'm here to ask Ms. Melson and Ms. White if they ever found out about the gang activity on the 54th Street in Ditzler. I was here right after the standoff that happened across the street from my apartment, and I ask you to please investigate the gang activity that I had heard been reported to Brenda Washington, that she reported over the TV, and neither one of you have gotten back with me. You have my phone number, and I would like for you to do what you said you were going to do. You're my elected officials, and I would appreciate you do what I ask you to do. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, would anyone else in the audience like to address the board at this time? Okay, we're going to move on. The category of communication from the mayor, you're hearing a lot these days about the curfew issue that Kansas City is looking at putting into place. Events at the Country Club Plaza this past weekend certainly bring to mind a lot of activities that have happened within the metropolitan area over the last couple of years. You recall that this city enacted an additional ordinance to help curb that. In fact, we actually instituted a new curfew that changed the curfew, rather, from 10 o'clock, from 11 o'clock on weekdays to 10 o'clock on weekdays, and from 12 o'clock to 11 o'clock on weekends. In addition to that, we took, I think, the step that many of us felt was the right thing to do, and that's to penalize the parents, if you will, because so many of these causes are brought about by the parents. So now when our police pick up a curfew violator, the parent is ticketed as they may seem fit to do. That then goes to the municipal court, and the court handles that. I've had conversations with Mayor James and several of the aldermen from Kansas City, and I've shared with them what this city has taken in and how it's worked within our own city this past year. In talking to the chief of police, I believe that things have improved, and we're looking for statistics on that, but we are reporting to Kansas City that we may have something that they could, in fact, help with as well. It may help their situation. So you put that together with what this community is strong about, and you think about events that happened just this past week. Jan Wynn had an event that many of us attended last Thursday that was a summer event. It was intended for those who may not have a chance to always have dance lessons, but this summer they took dance lessons through Wynn Studios and put on a fine performance. There was probably well over 100 people, I think, associated with that. Many elected officials from around the area were there. The news covered it. The biggest thing about it were the smiles on those kids' faces and the parents that were there to support those kids. That's what this community continues to be about. Couple that also with the fact that this past summer we served over 3,000 lunches through our Interfaith Alliance, the churches that joined together in this community. Many hands helped with that. We had our administration help with that. The police have helped with that. The fire departments helped with that. Many electeds have helped with that. That's a fantastic opportunity for people to go out and help one another. We do it for the right reasons. That's what this community continues to be about, and I'm proud of that. Mahesh, as City Administrator, anything to add?
Good evening, Mayor Bauer and Board of Aldermen. I just wanted to let you know about an upcoming community blood drive that is being held at Raytown EMS on Thursday, August 18th, from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Their address is 10,020 East 66th Terrace in Raytown, Missouri. If you want to call and let them know when you are planning to visit there, their number is 737-6030. Again, community blood drive at Raytown EMS this Thursday, August 18th from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. A few items that were mentioned in my weekly report, and I'll just read a couple of those for the public. Public Works has been notified that energy efficient streetlight project has completed major milestone. Mid-America Regional Council is coordinating the multiple entity project that has recently contracted with Black & McDonald to install the new energy efficient streetlights. Raytown has been designated $120,000 in the project and has selected 61 decorative fixtures and 126 standard street lights to replace. Also, Mid-America Regional Council's Missouri Transportation Enhancement Committee is conducting an email vote to determine if Raytown will receive an additional grant to fund the downtown streetscape project. The vote deadline is 5 p.m. on Thursday, August 18, 2011. If the vote is in favor of Raytown, we should be granted an award of $483,750. Also, Kevin Boji from Park has shared an email that he received from one of our residents, and I'll just read in part, not in its entirety. Dear Kevin, thanks for another fine swim season at Super Splash. Despite his 80 years, my husband continued his diving and lap swimming. Pool manager Dave and his friendly staff, as well as the alert lifeguards, kept the pool and environment safe, clean, and comfortable. And their nice greeting have made us feel like family. We are fortunate to have access to Super Splash and hope to enjoy another summer of swim time next year. Thanks. With that, I will conclude my report.
Thank you, Mahesh. We're going to go to committee reports, and I'm going to ask Mr. Pardue if he has anything to report on HRC.
Yes, the Human Relations Commission will be meeting this Thursday at 6 p.m. here at City Hall.
Okay. Joe, would you like to talk about our meeting last week with the Park Board?
We had a meeting last week with members of the Park Board, myself, Alderman Mock, and Alderman White, as well as the mayor were there. We discussed direction that we want to see the Park Board go in from a city perspective, and see the two, the Park Board and the city work together to accomplish better things for the people of the community.
Thanks, Joe. Mr. Lightfoot, anything from legislative?
We don't have a legislative committee meeting planned at this time, but we have got our letter submitted to our proper representatives on our redistricting wishes for Raytown.
Yeah. Mr. Mock, anything?
Yes, Council on the Aging will be meeting this Thursday, August 18th at 4:15 here at City Hall.
Okay, very good. Michael, just to keep, or Alderman Lightfoot, to keep you informed on community reports too, I met last week with the Missouri Municipal League, presented to them the committee's recommendations for economic development and human relations recommendations for legislature this year. So that'll go, it was approved by the Resolutions Committee. It'll be presented to the members at the meeting in Missouri Municipal League here in Kansas City next month. So that took place, and I think we patterned ourselves closely after what Director Kerr had been asking for, as he had a representative there as well. So we talked to the panel about that, and they were receptive and accepted the recommendations. So, very good. Any other committee reports? And move on to the legislative session. We have one item on the consent agenda. That's the meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve or a motion to?
Second.
I think that it was Alderman Kramer that had the original motion, seconded by Alderman Hamilton. You guys agree with that? You were both right in there neck and neck? Very good. Photo finish, and Charlotte finished third on that, so we'll give her the next one. So we've got a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion before we vote on that? Call the vote, please.
Alderman Kramer?
Yes.
Alderman Hamilton?
Yes.
Alderman Lightfoot?
Yes.
Alderman Mock?
Yes.
Alderman Ertz,
I'll abstain since I was absent last week.
Alderman Nelson,
Yes.
Alderman White,
Yes.
Alderman Azier,
Yes.
Alderman Pardue,
Yes.
Moving to the regular agenda, I'll ask the clerk to perform the reading on item number 2, please.
a resolution authorizing and approving an agreement for banking services by and between United Missouri Bank and the City of Raytown, Missouri, in excess of $15,000, but within budgeted amounts through fiscal year 2014-2015.
Our Finance Director, Jeremy Wilmoth, anything to add, sir?
Not at this time. We're currently working on the language for the contract, but it's pretty standard language. So in this resolution, we're asking just to give that authority to the city administrator, enter into an agreement that covers all the terms of our RFP and their response.
Mr. Azier.
So move.
Mr. Azier has the motion, seconded by Mr. Pardue. Got a motion and a second on item number 2, discussion before we vote. Ms. Melson?
Mr. Wilmoth, when will we know the actual savings on this item?
Well, the best way to know will be at the end of the fiscal year when we just compare the expenses. I mean, we'll know the first month because there's a savings in the price, but because everything's by unit, depending on how many debits we have, how many credits we have, how many checks we write, how many ACHs we do, the more of those items that take place, the more the savings will be. So, but probably the best way to tell is to compare, this fiscal year that's ending with the new fiscal year and see what the difference is.
Okay, thank you.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Call the vote, please.
Alderman Azier,
Yes.
Alderman Pardue,
Yes.
Alderman Hamilton,
Yes.
Alderman Nelson, Alderman Lightfoot,
Yes.
Alderman Kramer,
Yes.
Alderman White, Alderman Ertz,
Yes.
Alderman Mock,
Yes.
Okay, item number 3, please.
a resolution authorizing the city administrator to enter into an agreement with Superior Bowen Asphalt Company, LLC, for the 2011 asphalt overlay program in an amount not to exceed $485,000, $44.
Mr. Knoll as our Public Works Director, or Mr. Hanson as our City Engineer. Anything to add, sir?
Just wanted to state, we went over this at the last meeting during the work session. We received 3 bids. We're recommending the low bidder, which is Superior Bowen Asphalt, for the alternate bid. The alternate bid includes the standard mill and overlay, as well as what we call a ultra-thin bonded asphalt surface along Raytown Road. It uses a very high-quality asphalt, but it is much thinner than the standard overlay system. Saves us, as you can see, the difference between $517,000 and $465,000. Provides what we think is the same lifespan, but a significantly reduced cost. So that is a significant change this year. One more item that we're trying to stretch our dollars as far as we can. I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Questions, Mr. Knoll. Mr. Mock.
When do you anticipate the work will get started?
Probably in about 7 to 10 days.
Okay. And what street would do you anticipate to be the first street done? Would it be Raytown Traffic Way or
I would anticipate going from north to south.
on Raytown Traffic Way?
Probably, 59th Street.
So that'd be the first street then?
Yeah,
Okay.
59th is probably going to be first because our concrete work is done there.
Okay. Hey, are they about done with that along Raytown Traffic Way?
They still have to go further south to about, almost to the highway, along Raytown Road, Raytown Traffic Way. And then we're going to put them over on Woodson to do some fixes on that.
Okay. Thanks, Jason.
Any additional questions? Ms. White has a motion to approve. I'm going to give the second to Mr. Kramer, who was a photo finish with Ms. White on that. Discussion before we vote on item number 3. Call the vote, please.
Alderman White, Alderman Kramer,
Yes.
Alderman Azier,
Yes.
Alderman Mock,
Yes.
Alderman Hamilton,
Yes.
Alderman Ertz,
Yes.
Alderman Lightfoot,
Yes.
Alderman Pardue,
Yes.
Alderman Nelson,
Very good. Item number 4 is a public hearing to consider text amendments to city code relating to the comprehensive zoning ordinance, and I'll ask the clerk to perform the first reading on this item, please.
An ordinance granting an amendment to Section 1-9.05 of the Comprehensive Zoning Regulations for the City of Raytown, Missouri.
We'll open the public hearing at this time. Would anyone on the board like to share any ex parte communication they may have had? None appearing. Mr. Benson, anything to add regarding the application, sir?
Yes. This is an amendment to the zoning ordinance, or the fence regulations contained in the zoning ordinance. This amendment originally came before the board in 2007 at the direction of the Planning Commission at that time. The staff was directed to draft an amendment or do some research in that, which ultimately led to an amendment being drafted to allow certain types of fences in the front yard. And when I say types of fences, it relates to the types of materials, as well as the restrictions on a maximum height of 3.5 feet within the front yard. The Planning Commission in 2007 recommended approval of the amendment. When it came before the Board of Aldermen at that time, it was tabled indefinitely because we were also looking at developing or getting into the development of infill residential design standards, and so the board wanted the amendment looked at as part of that. The infill residential design standards never materialized with the changing of the housing market, and for other reasons that never became reality, or that project did not become reality. So the amendment has been sitting on the back burner, so to speak, since then. Coming now to this year, the Board of Zoning Adjustment has had 4 to 5 variance applications dealing with front yard fences. When we have that many variance applications all relating to the same type of code issue, it's a sign that our zoning regulations need to be looked at to determine if they're still accurate and representative of the community, or if they need to be tweaked. And so based on the amendments, they actually tie right back to the fence amendment that had been proposed in 2007. So before you tonight is that amendment. It would, in effect, as I've touched on, allow fences to be located in the front yard area, which currently is not allowed, up to a maximum height of 3.5 feet. Chain link fence would specifically not be allowed within the front yard area, in the backyard or rear yard. In side yard areas, chain link as it is now is allowed. 6-foot fences would also be allowed on corner lots to come further into that side yard along the side street, as long as it's set back 10 feet from the right-of-way line on the side street for a corner lot. On interior lots, the fence, a 6-foot fence, just as today, would still be allowed to go right up to the property line and along rear property lines. So there's some tweaks in that regard. And again, the 6-foot fence, allowing it to encroach further into that side yard on corner lots, is a reflection of, again, variance applications we received from a number of property owners over the past few years with similar situations that have applied for the variance because the 6-foot fence divides their backyard and takes out a large chunk. And so we did not bring it all the way out to the right-of-way line because we didn't want to create a wall along the street. So we've set it. The fence amendment still requires a 10-foot setback, rather than 30 feet was what it would be today. So with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions of Mr. Benson? Okay. At this time, I'm going to...
Mr. Mayor.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mock.
It's okay. Anytime. Mr. Benson, on a wrought iron fence, okay? Now, if they decide to do a wrought iron gate across their driveway, would they have to apply for variance for that gate?
Not for a gate. A gate is allowed now. If they go outside beyond the driveway, they would be required to get a variance under current regulations. That was actually a variance that we had, or the city received about 2 months ago, was from a property owner who wanted to put gates across their driveway and then extend the fence out so that someone can just simply drive around the gate on the yard. They had to apply for a variance. It was approved, and they have the gates, and the fence has been installed today. So,
okay, Thanks.
Is that it, Mr. Mock? I want to make sure. All right. Okay. Very good. We're going to, at this time, go to public comment. So at this time, if anyone in the audience would like to address the board on this particular matter, they're welcome to do so.
Evening again. I question how you can consider 2.5 feet to be a fence. It's not a fence. It's an ornament. Something like that's easily jumped over or walked over. Actually, it's a safety hazard because it's going to be tripped over. So something that short shouldn't be allowed. It should be high enough to be visible. And, you know, that's something like that's totally useless. It shouldn't be allowed at all. It should be at least 4 feet. Also, I'm more or less in agreement with the setback on the corner lots. I have a corner lot, and when I had mine erected, the codes department at that time told me, well, just put it at the property line. I said, well, that doesn't allow me any visibility for backing. It's a safety hazard. So I set mine back, I think it was like 20 feet from the street, just so I'd have visibility backing and others could see me going out. So maybe the setback should be enough. I don't know if 10 feet is enough or not, but maybe it should be farther just to make sure people have visibility for backing. Safety. Thank you.
Thanks, Andy. Anyone else?
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Benson?
Mr. Whiteman made a comment that the height of the fence should be allowed to be higher than 2.5 feet. The amendment proposed actually is 3.5 feet, not 2.5 feet. Also, in regards to the corner lots or visibility, we have our current city code requires or prohibits fences from getting in the vision triangle at intersections. So to address the issue he talked about at intersections. So that's not proposed to change from what it is today.
Very good. Thank you, John. Sorry, Mr. If you've been up once already. Did you catch it and want to answer it, and then we're going to move on? Go ahead, John.
The vision triangle doesn't apply to driveways. It is the 10-yard setback for a 6-foot fence is actually going to be approximately 21 feet from the edge of the roadway on most streets, when you take into account the excess right-of-way outside the right-of-way or the street pavement area. So there should still be adequate sight distance off of driveways.
Very good. Okay, anyone else in the audience? Again. All right, we're going to move on past public comments on that. We're going to move on into board discussion as well. So discussion amongst the board. Remember that this is the first reading. We'll have it again, so no action is required tonight necessarily. Yes, we'll need a motion to continue the hearing to date certain. That would be date certain of September 6th. So we have a motion to continue this to a date certain of September 6th, which time we'll continue the public hearing at that point. We have a second. Was a second by Mr. Kramer. Original motion by Ms. White. Discussion on that motion. Call a vote on that, please.
Alderman White?
Yes.
Alderman Kramer?
Yes.
Alderman Pardue?
Yes.
Alderman Lightfoot?
Yes.
Alderman Mock?
Yes.
Alderman Hamilton?
Yes.
Alderman Nelson?
Yes.
Alderman Asher?
Yes.
Alderman Ertz?
Yes.
Okay, unless someone is aware of any business that is not on our agenda, we're going to go to closed session. And notice is hereby given that the mayor and board of aldermen may conduct a closed session pursuant to the following statutory provisions. Paragraph 610.021, subparagraph 3, hiring, firing, disciplining, or promoting of particular employees by a public governmental body when personal information relating to the performance or merit of an individual employee is discussed or recorded, and or paragraph 610.021, subparagraph 13, individually identifiable personnel records, performance ratings, or records pertaining to employees or applicants for employment. Motion to go to closed session, please. Mr. Kramer's got the motion to go to second, or go to, was it Mr. Hamilton had it? Did Mr. Hamilton have the motion?
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's what I was thinking. Mr. Kramer has the motion to go to closed session, seconded by Mr. Hamilton. Discussion before we vote on going to closed session. Call the vote on that, please.
Alderman Kramer?
Yes.
Alderman Hamilton?
Yes.
Alderman White?
Yes.
Alderman Nelson?
Yes.
Alderman Ertz?
Yes.
Alderman Pardue?
Yes.
Alderman Azier?
Yes.
Alderman Lightfoot?
Yes.
Alderman Mock?
Yes.